In 1966, deep in the jungles of Vietnam, 108 young Australian soldiers walk into a battle they were never meant to survive. Danger Close. The Battle of Long Tan brings to life the true story of the Battle of Long Tan, where a small company faces over 2,500 enemy troops. What starts as a routine patrol turns into chaos. Gunfire explodes from the trees. Rain pours. The jungle becomes a trap. Outnumbered 20-1, surrounded, cut off from support, with ammunition running low and the enemy closing in, Major Harry Smith makes an unthinkable call: artillery fire on his own position. Danger Close. Explosions crash just meters from his men. One mistake, and they're gone. But this is more than a war film. It's a story of brotherhood under fire. Of courage when fear takes over. Of ordinary men standing against impossible odds. If you think you've seen intense war movies before, this battle will prove you wrong. Step into the jungle, and experience survival at its most brutal. Vietnam, 1966. The forest looks peaceful. The wind moves slowly through the rubber trees. But behind that tranquility, death is waiting. The Vietnam War wasn't just about American soldiers. There were other troops, from Australia and New Zealand, sent far from home to face an invisible enemy. At Nui Dat Base, young soldiers tried to calm themselves. They joked. They smoked. They wrote letters to their families. But they did not know that in the next few hours, they would face thousands of enemies, and history would record that battle as Long Tan. A few days earlier, the Nui Dat base had been attacked by mortar fire at night. The explosions hit the camp. It was not a random attack. It was a warning.
We should tell them to hurry the fuck up. We need those bearings.
Lieutenant Colonel Harry Smith, leader of Delta Company, knew that the enemy was testing them. Intelligence reported the presence of large numbers of Viet Cong and North Vietnamese Army troops around the Long Tan rubber plantation. But only one small company was sent on patrol. About 100 soldiers, against possibly thousands of enemies. They walked into the forest, unaware that they were walking into a trap.
23 wounded.
Step by step, they kept moving forward as ordered. Their first task was to ensure the enemy forces had been destroyed.
Blueprints. The East has...
Catch up to that bullet. You want to fight, sir?
Then platoons 10, 11, and 12 continued their journey, entering the forest as instructed by Lieutenant Hayes. However, only a few minutes after stepping in, they encountered Vietnamese troops and opened fire. The contact was relayed to the other platoons. After that, members of Platoon 11 searched an empty house in the middle of the forest. After that, members of Platoon 11 combed through an empty house in the middle of the forest. The young soldiers began to enter, looking around and observing every object that had been left behind and scattered about, but no enemies were spotted. Then they gave the all-clear signal to Sergeant Bob. Then they left the house and the atmosphere suddenly became quiet. The soldiers at the front who were not yet ready were immediately hit by bullets and died instantly. The silence became a deadly trap for Platoon 11. They could not escape. They were surrounded. Now Platoon 11 could only ask for help from the command center to launch the cannon. From a distance, the firing squad received the requested position. Then they launched. The bullets headed for their target. An explosion occurred in the enemy's area. The command center analyzed the area and estimated the number of enemies attacking Platoon 11. Then, a few moments later, Platoon 11 requested assistance to send a shell Drake. However, what surprised their comrades was that they requested the explosion to be precisely at their position. They took this action because they felt trapped. Their ammunition was almost depleted, and the enemy numbers had not decreased. Their comrades initially refused, but they remained adamant. They continued to request the explosion target.